Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing very well. I'm Charlotte Norden, and I am a healer, I am a teacher, a spiritual guide, and a channel. I wanted to talk to you today about this book that I have been channeling for a while now with the goddess Isis, who came to me, gave me a few activations, and who asked me to write this book with her. So she formulated a few questions that she then gave answers to. And so this book is originally written in French, and I have translated this text about the feminine sacred principle that I thought was very interesting. And so I have been reading out these texts, as they were kind of coming and as I was correcting them to my French audience. And I thought it would be certainly appreciable for you two guys, English-speaking ones, or who would like to get a few glimpses of what Isis has to say about these things, because they're highly interesting to each and every one of us. So the question goes, what are the principles of the sacred feminine? These are principles that we separate from the masculine to facilitate their understanding. These two elements, masculine and feminine, govern the axis of creation of the world, the cosmos, the galaxy, the interplanetary kingdoms, the universe, and multi-universe, from the most grounded plane of creation all the way back up to source. The ferment of the feminine polarity is part of this, as are the attributes of source creation, such as universal laws, the divine self within you, the divine principles of creations, which are the rays of source, as well as a great number of archetypes that require it. We are all made out of this matter, out of this same matter, the cornerstones, but in different proportions. The principles of the sacred feminine are illustrated by the predisposition that women have to let life and the principle of love emerge on earth from their womb. This ability can radiate in different forms depending on the intention with which the human manifests. Whether the being is in the material world or in the immaterial world, the feminine polarity manifests differently. With regards to the principle of the feminine and its application for you, humans of the earth, you will take advantage in knowing a few precepts which will allow you to use them at their highest potential and make them your own attributes, whether you are born feminine or masculine. You carry, each and every one of you, these two aspects that combine, join, intertwine, and transpose at different levels in the matter that you are made of. You have at your disposal a varied palette, a wide range of choices as how to use or manifest these principles of source creation. I tell you here and insist on this idea that these principles are at your disposal so that you can make good use of them. You are here to learn and to experience all aspects of your being, whether they arise from your feminine polarity or from your masculine polarity. At the end of the completeness of your being, you are able to make the alloy between the two, because neither of these two polarities is more important than the other. The two sides deserve to have a prominent place in your life and to be made visible in your gestures, in your words, in your thoughts, and in your actions. You all have the ability to manifest these two facets within you. This will lead you to perfect balance when you achieve it. I emphasis on this fact that seems important during your personal, physical, psychic, and spiritual interior evolution. Your aim is to maintain these two principles in a balancing movement, which will sometimes favor one side than the other, as so to remain in equilibrium in your general attitudes. Thereby, you counterbalance both situations in a polarized yin, feminine, or a more yang, masculine, and a situation containing a surplus of yang by a feedback with yin. By doing so, by attuning these two identities within you, you are building a powerful tool for keeping yourself in harmony. You can, as an idea, contract a yin attitude when you have in front of you a vulnerable being, encouraging you to act gently and with compassion towards him. You can also adopt a yang attitude by being the benevolent protector of the person in front of you. I encourage you to play on these two poles and merge with them within you. Be the sacred movement that links them together. Be the fruitful bridge that allows the transmission of these foundations and these basic energies. If you need to develop more of the feminine principle within you, take a look at your self-esteem and see how much you love yourself and how much love you give to yourself. Are you gentle? Are you compassionate? Are you tender and filled with nurturing emotions about yourself? Look inside yourself to see what you're able to offer yourself, thus making you aware of what you are able to offer to other people around you. This is a very simple principle. You can hardly offer or share with anyone what you have not satisfied yourself with. You simply do not know this vibration. In this case, open up your heart to the world. Open yourself to your inner peace, to your serenity, and accept yourself. You can afford yourself everything you lack. Unconditional love, which is the principle of the sacred feminine at its root, will only be accessible to you if you're able to fully embrace all that is, without judgment and without altering your perception. This involves loving yourself in all parts of you, even those you have deemed less acceptable. You are perfect beings, filled with deep compassion and unconditional love for yourself at your core. In your basic precepts, in your original creation, do not forget it. Let yourself once again be lulled by these sweet and tender, unwavering attentions towards you. Remind yourself of the perfect being that you are now and at all times. You have never ceased to be it all, but you have nevertheless perhaps forgotten it. So this means that in our principle and how we have been created in our generic core of our DNA, we are programmed so that we can develop those skills inside of you. And self-love actually is a skill. And most of the time we have come so far away from it that we actually have to rebuild and to find this new path towards loving ourselves again. We can also go even further about the feminine polarity, suggesting its moon or its nights as it invites us to see. You all have within you a sacred well within which rests your highest spiritual attributes, as well as the darker aspects of the dark night within you. So don't get too scared here. It's going to be explained. These hidden aspects, also known as shadows, are nothing else but the shadows created by emotions that block the illuminated part of your true self to shine. These shadow aspects may not even belong to you. In fact, none of them do. So this means that every time we carry an emotion that is coming from any kind of trauma, anything that we have been going through in our childhood or in any past life, we may believe in it, such as it is our own, but it can also come from, our parents, anything that our family members have been carrying within them, such as lack of self-esteem or anything like that. So just bear that in mind, and you must just simply know that anything that is being put on to your sacred being may also be taken off. I would like to address here this notion of a hidden madness, because it exists in each and every one of you and scares you on several levels. While the dread of stepping into your dark space can seem dizzying, my message here revolves around how to do it without you feeling any opposition. Discovering one's darkest aspects, one's wounds, or one's shadows require solid preparation beforehand and cannot be done without the rigorous assistance of a solid and grounded spiritual training. You need to build a stable light body before doing this. The aspect of the divine feminine that I am talking about here is the part of absolute emptiness from which the source of all that is springs. It is also here that the hidden aspects of you and of humanity is nestled. This aspect has been represented in many forms throughout the history of humanity, in various stories and tales. Although you all have aspects within you that you do not want to see or encounter, and achieving this eventually allows you to free yourself from the density held in the abyss of your personality. So see, we're talking about the personality here. We're not talking about your true self. You have lived through centuries of illusion and of dark ages of humanity, which have doomed you to live heavy trials, which have traumatized you, and which are now repeated in you by the laws of karma. You are very often dramatically unaware of this and are unable to get rid of your demons or identify them in order to recognize them and understand them as outside parts of you. So here Isis is talking about demons. So just don't get me wrong here, is that every time we have something that is scaring us and that we don't want to see, it just blows up so much that it turns into a demon. But in fact, it's actually just empty air. It's just a belief that we are fighting against. We just fight against beliefs. Because of fear of seeing them and meeting them, you prefer to ignore them, feigning their non-existence, while they haunt you in anxieties whose origins you do not know. I invite you to take the torch of your divine self that you have taken care to cultivate, to descend into your abyss in order to illuminate them. That is such a powerful statement. Do not do this if you are alone or if you feel abused by your torments, because you could leave parts of you here. But allow yourself to be accompanied by healing beings placed on earth to accompany your healing process. I am not talking here about little magicians, but about people who are potent and able to enter into a relationship with their own dark sides and who know how to navigate them. I am talking here about people who have been able to get rid of their karma by descending with strength, light, and courage to the depth of their history, conscious or unconscious, to bring light and clarity and service to the rest of humanity. I am talking here about people who have been able to free themselves from the fears they used to carry. These individuals are great teachers to whom you can and must turn to if you want to raise your vibrational frequency enough to evolve. So I just want to point here that as I was talking to some of my guides, they said that it's okay if you haven't cleared all of your karma. You know, you can still be doing this work as a healer, as a teacher, or as a divine communicator towards any other, as long as you have stepped over a certain balance. So they told me it was about 60 to 70% of karma that you need to have been working through. So, I mean, it's just impossible that you get through all the karma that you have. I mean, we carry so much within all the karma of just our collective unconsciousness. It's just so much to deal with. But I mean, once you get into it and that you've been dealing with your things a lot, then you know that when they come up, it's just not as scary anymore, and you just go through it quite easily. You know, your light frequency is high enough so that when you encounter something difficult, the height of your frequency takes over, or is more important than this dark side of you that wants or tries to pull you back, that's held within the ego mind and the ego structure and in the personality. You will not be able to evolve without having done this work of dissociating from your fears inside you, and without having confronted them, without having blessed them. So this is so beautiful, because you need to bless them, you need to love them, you need to love those parts, right? As you are drawn to the light of the sun, which illuminates you and shines on you with 1,000 lights in the first stages of your ascension process, and as you discover the radiant parts which is within you, this phase of illumination would have to be counterbalanced by the descent into the abyss of your being that has been illuminated by the dazzling light shining on you. One does not go without the other. The light of the masculine calls for the introspection of the feminine. These are universal laws that no one can escape. It is also the reason why so many individuals choose not to let the light shine on them, because they unconsciously or intuitively know that this involves delving into their inner selves that they do not want to see. So this was quite interesting as well, I find, because when you get into your own path of spirituality and that you start getting awakened, then most of the time, you know, you see all of this connection, and it's feeling so good, and it's, you know, just like having a candy box in front of you, and then all of this light is actually shining the light on everything that you're holding within you. So it's interesting to know that the further you go into the light, well, the more you also need to go and look at what is being lit up inside. So just to come back about those people who choose not to see and who choose not to go into this path of evolution, they prefer to stay in a brooding, more or less stable gray cloud. It is a choice that must be respected, because you're all human beings of great courage, whatever your choices and decisions. You all have free will over you and are only responsible for making choices about yourself according to your own decisions, according to your own will. So Isis adds here, do not try to change another, but respect this free will. Go instead to see in yourself why you want to change what is outside of you, when you could change what is inside of you. When you put all your attention outside of yourself, thinking about how to change others or a situation, you fail to analyze what it causes in you and why it puts you in such a state of suffering. Do you want to suffer so much? Wouldn't you like to heal once and for all from all those wounds that are harbored within you and that you yourself has chosen to harbor? Wouldn't it be more beneficial for you to use the springboard of this difficulty to dislodge the cause for good? So she's talking about the springboard here. You know, this problem that we have, or this demon that we have, is actually a gift. It's a springboard. If a hurt part emerges within you and causes you resentment, anger, or rage, you can look at it or be guided to see what is the very nature of this feeling of unpleasantness contained within you, in your sacred space, inside the very temple that you would like to purify. In reality, you would like it to be so pure that you prefer to reject its impurity outside of you, while it is precisely within you that this dark density resonates. You cannot move forward on your path of spiritual evolution without full responsibility for your emotions that you are holding back. So I love this when she says that, you know, we would just love our inside to be so pure that we reject all impurity outside of us and trying to find the faults in everyone else, whereas it's actually something that is resonating inside of us and that we should go and take a look at. Do not be afraid of these initiation rites of the sacred feminine, which allow you to enter your inner depth, your silence, your darkness, your inner womb. So when she's talking about darkness here, it just means that, you know, inside it's like our inner space of where both nothingness exists and where everything is being nurtured to take form with the principle of the masculine, you know, within this womb of nothingness, there is a whole creation taking place that then can give rise to, throughout the light, to any kind of manifestations. So it's just as on this level of consciousness, of this darker plane, well, in this womb within ourselves, where nothing exists and that everything exists all at once, where we have all our talents or our gifts, our spiritual, you know, the magic part within us, our sacred space, is at the same level sort of as all of our wounded parts. It's almost like we need to climb over that wall, or if we really want to get into this state of serene peacefulness, we need to clear out this solid rock of density that is enabling us to just rest in peace within this peaceful womb of nothingness that exists just as much at the heart of Source as within Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, as within ourselves, whether you're masculine or feminine. We all have these principles within you. Entering your personal cave will allow you to foster a deeply spiritual connection within you, to fully relate to it and emanate all the mysteries within you from your sacred silence. Nothing is stronger than the pendulum of these two polarities, of these two aspects which intertwine and respond to each other within you. This tantric dialogue leads you to ascension. The light within you will guide you on your way. Remember yourself. Remember yourself. So thank you very much for listening to this sharing, to this teaching that our dear beloved Isis has been giving to us now to take a further step in our own personal evolution as light workers and beings on our evolutionary path on Earth. And I think it's very important that we take everything that our ascended masters may bring to us today, because we cannot walk in these shadowy times without having their lights shining upon us, and their help is of such a great benefit that it would just be foolish not to use it, and it would be as a child who's saying that he is okay growing up without a parent. And we are not those foolish children. We are evolved beings who want to co-create and to cooperate with all of those who want to cooperate with us, which the Ascended Masters and all our spirit guides actually want to do. So just let ourselves open our hearts and be there and make the job and do the work and get into this tantric dialogue. And I really love this sentence where she talks about this tantric dialogue, because this is what Tantra very much is about. It's nothing about, it isn't about finding a partner to do sexual crazy things with. It's about finding this inner balance of how to getting to this inner movement with your Ida and Pingala within your Shushuma channel, to get this evolution and to raise up your frequency so that you may evolve into this being of light that very much wants to come into your body and embody you, so that there is a tantric connection there as well. And this is the way that we want to go to get into ascension, into our limitless field of who we are, and limitless field of our minds. So I send you all of my love, and I hope to be back for another video in English. It would be my true pleasure, and have a beautiful, blessed day. See you soon.